Okay, to begin today and to get set up, I'd like you to have your sketchbook and I'd like you to turn to page 13 in your sketchbook. So as I get set up, I'm going to show you, because page 13 is going to take us a couple periods. So you're starting today with a blank page, and I put it this way. You're starting today with a blank page. At the end of today, we are going to finish a great lidded rectangular shoebox. Our shape of today is a rectangle. And then we will end up shading it, and you will have a very impressive Nike shoebox with labeling on both the front and the side. So that's where we're going. So to start off, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to get out your sketchbook and turn to page 13 and lay your sketchbook in such a way that the spine is at the top and you see the lettering of page 13 down here in the corner. It'll be really important today that you have a nice, good, straight edge, because that will be used a lot. To start off with, we are going to draw a basic rectangle. So to do the basic rectangle, we aren't going to need a lot of space here on the page. So I'm going to eyeball it, but I'm going to put a straight line right here. Now notice that I am not going all the way. I will need some room. I will need some room up here, and I'll need some room alongside here. So this rectangle then, I'm going to lay my straight edge here. So notice I'm setting up my rectangle, but I'm going to leave space here and space at the top. I'm also going to take this now, and I'm going to lay this on the side right there and kind of eyeball that. Does this space look the same? Because when we're doing long spans, it is easy to get it off and wonky. So you now have 3 lines. So quickly put your 3 lines in. So again, now you have your 3 lines. You laid it here, you closed it up, and you should now have the shape of a rectangle. The next lines we're going to do is, as we did in the box to the cube, is our diagonals. So I think the easiest way is to take this corner and this corner, and I am going to line that up. I noticed here I didn't quite close my corner, so I'm going to line that up. And you might notice I'm using just a basic number 2 pencil because I just want some skinny lines to start off with. But a nice diagonal right here. Now what we want are 2 more diagonal lines. Now as our shape gets larger, and we want our shape large today because it will be easier when I teach you lettering if your box is nice and big. But to get this diagonal, I'm going to lay it on here, and I'm going to try that artistic slide where I just slide. You got to kind of hold your paper. And when this gets to this corner, and this is what I always do, is I kind of eyeball this and go, does that look fairly same distance? If it does, So we're going to put that one in. This one, we're going to lay that straight edge and we're going to pull it here till we get to the corner. Take a look. And put your diagonal there. Now remember, we can always check this by putting the corner here and measuring this and sliding and see, does our measurement end up where our line is? It surely does. Voila, I can tell that this is parallel, and that's what I want. I can do the same with this way. I lay this here, I draw this here, and I can simply slide, leaving the corner there, and voila, look, I match. Okay. Actually, in all honesty, I don't think this matches well. I'm going to check that again. When I just kind of eyeball it, I do not think it's super close. I'm going to try it again. Nope, I'm off. And the more and more you draw, the better you will be at spotting those sort of things. So I'm going to see now. I'm going to check myself because I'm not so sure. Let's see here. Lay that there. And mark it here. And then what I'm going to do is slide and see if my corner hits my line. So far, so much better. So much better. It's definitely worth checking, because if you don't start off with parallel diagonal lines, in the end, it's not going to look very good and be hard to correct then. Okay. So take a moment to get your 3 parallel diagonals. So now we need to close our rectangle up. And if you notice, this is exactly what we did on our square to make it a cube. Same process, the only thing is we stretched out to make it a rectangle. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a nice, I want this space in here to be big because we are going to write on that. So I'm going to pick a spot. I'm then going to do a measurement so that when I come down here, I can do a spot, and I can take that same measurement over here and I'm going to connect my dots. I'm drawing dark because I want you to be able to see it. You might begin with drawing light, and then as you are confident with the line, then darken it in. And I go up here. I think this is the hardest one to do. And this should be straight across parallel. And erase your overhang. So basically you're just kind of cleaning it up. So to continue on, watch how easy it is to do a lid to your box. So easy, you will shock yourself. Basically, pick how deep you want this lid to be. So I'm going to pick here. Then what I'm going to do is a little measurement. I'm going up to this corner. I'm going to mark that little measurement. Going to this corner. Marking that measurement. Here goes the lid. 2 lines. I'm going to connect my dots. And again, eyeball it. Since we're not using rulers, we're using straight edges. Does this look like the same distance? Hopefully. Voila, line 1. This is the important one, this crazy diagonal one. So look to see that this distance and this distance, that they look parallel. Voila, you have now just put a lid on your box. I would probably use your pencil that has the thinnest lead. Like I'm even using, as you notice, a number 2 pencil because it's nice and sharp. When we're shading, of course, we love our 6Bs and our 3Bs. We are now going to do this process in our box, is we're going to write this word. Now, nobody likes to do guidelines. But to be honest, without guidelines, it's probably going to look wonky. And up to this point, you've used a straight edge to do everything, so hopefully it looks really sharp. So let's put in guidelines. I'm going to draw mine dark so that you can see them. You draw yours light because know that part of the guidelines will be erased. So if you say, well, I won't even, if we're going to erase them, I'm not going to draw them. Pretty much guaranteed wonky letters without guidelines. So please do the guidelines. I want my word Nike to come right in here. So to do that, I need to draw 3 lines. These lines are the pretty easy ones. I'm going to go 1. Notice I'm just laying my straight edge on the side of my box. 2. Lay it on this. And again, I just kind of eyeball the spacing. I want my spacing here between my lines similar, as close as I possibly can. Three guidelines. Again, you want them parallel to your horizontal lines. That's your goal. All right, so here we go in writing the word Nike. First of all, I am going to basically put just simple lines, knowing that my lines are going to be thickened. So I want to leave plenty of space between my lines. So I know that the word Nike, and again, I will be using a straight edge, but I'm simply going to put just to give myself an idea, the word like this. Gonna have a nice big swoosh here, and I will be teaching you how to do that. So if you would just pencil in with lots of space the word Nike. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my straight edge, and if I like the placement, I'm going to just simply go over, making sure that up and down is parallel with up and down. That didn't really make sense, did it? But my long pulls of my letters, my long pulls are nice and parallel with the side of my box. Then I'm going to connect. Now you will have time later to thicken these letters because this isn't how you see it on a true Nike box. Put the K. So now what I may do with this K, just so that I get it, I'm just going to make myself a little marking at the ends so that I can have my KB kind of equal, should I say. Okay. And my E. You may notice that my straight edge is straight against the box there. That also helps me. And again, I'm just simply going to mark where I want my E to go. So, my placement of Nike, now the swoosh. The swoosh, everybody is like, well, how do you do that swoosh? It's really easier than you think. You start like you're going to do a U, but you widen and you extend. So I'm going to get a darker pencil here so you can even see that better. You start like you're going to do a U, and you widen and go up. Then you come in here and you do a shallow U, and you go to meet it. Then if you like it, then you darken it in. So again, as I said, we will thicken these letters at the end. Right now, we're going to put a label in our box. So to put the label in, I am going to do 4 lines. I'm going to be parallel with that diagonal, and up and down, parallel. Again, use your straight edge, and I'm going to go 1 like that. And I'm going to lay this one in here. I'm leaving just a little bit of white for my label. And notice that the parallel diagonal lines are what really give your illusion that it's 3D. So we're going to put our guidelines in here for our label. We want to write the word Nike again. We probably want to have space for a swoosh, and probably then need to write what size the shoe is. So here's what we're going for, and I'm going to show you how to get there. So my guidelines first are what's super important is that they parallel this diagonal. Very important. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. Gonna leave a space for the swoosh. Gonna come down here 1, 2, and 3. Again, what you want, I would say mine are, now they look fairly parallel. Make sure that the distance here, actually mine are a little bit off. And because if you don't get it correct, it's very hard to correct it. So I'm going to put, they're fairly diagonal. Yikes, I think even worse. Maybe I should look and line up here with the box here. 1. Okay, a little bit better. So here we go with the lettering. Again, just trying to put the spacing correct. Notice that when I call this a pole, a long pole, the two parts of the end, the I, the base of the K, the long pole of the E. What I need to make sure is that my I parallel, so this will go up and down, parallel with the side. I will do my second one up and down, and then I will connect. I will go up and down, and notice the E. Again, a simple line so I can get my spacing in. You're later going to go back and thicken it up and lay your straight edge. Down here, we're going to do, notice this I, it goes up and down. The Z stays with our diagonal, and the E. And I'm going to stick the little size down here. I should have put it on my line. I just got going. My swoosh, we already learned the swoosh was a beginning of a U and extend, a shallow U and go to match that extension. The next process would be to take your straight edge and thicken up your letters. Really check them before you do this, because they are difficult to erase once you've thickened them up. And then when you are done thickening them up, to get us ready for shading, erase those guidelines out. So to end today, what I'd like you to do is thicken up your letters on both the side and the front, and then erase your guidelines, and you will be ready then for shading.